Hi, and welcome back to Football Made Simple. We're back with an in-game analysis of the Champions League group match between two great teams in Real Madrid and PSG. It ended in a high-scoring 2-2 draw thanks to a Benzema double and Mbappe and Sarabia. Two top managers put their wits against each other using interesting tactics, so let's take a closer look at them now. A quick reminder of the formations, as Madrid lined up in a 4-3-1-2 and PSG used a 4-3-3, as you can see on the OneFootball app, which is today's video sponsor. You can get formations, team stats, player stats, and much more through the free app, which is available for Android and iOS, and you can check it out through the link in the description to support the channel. Let's look at what Madrid did on the ball. When Madrid were on the ball, they looked to move the ball around quickly. But generally, when the centre-backs had the ball, Madrid would morph into a double pivot of Kroos and Casemiro, whilst Valverde pushed higher on the inside right channel. PSG, in reply, in their defensive phase, did not use a concerted high press. Instead, the team used a medium block, dropping into a 4-1-4-1 shape. In this double pivot, Kroos is clearly the ball progressor, so PSG looked to close him down, as they would rather have Casemiro spending more time on the ball. In the first half especially, Gueye was assigned to mark him in order to stop forward progression, and would often jump the line to close him down. In the first half, this worked fairly effectively, mainly limiting him to recycling possession backwards. But playing Gueye this high isn't his natural game, and he completed only one tackle and no interceptions, and came off at half time. Eventually, Real began to counter this by giving themselves plenty of options with the central overload. And playing Isco proved to be successful, as he often came deep to provide another genuine passing option, as he is very press resistant. So, by drawing attention, he gave Kroos more space and time on the ball, and in the end Kroos finished with a team-high 103 passes. When Real had the ball high, Verratti also pushed higher to compact the midfield, but with Valverde pushing high, it left Verratti in no man's land when deciding who to pick up. This left them open to Real's main attacking ploy. The 4-4-2 diamond is a naturally narrow shape, and often they look to get behind PSG's midfield line. Isco dropped centrally, which would allow Kroos into the left-back area to build up away from the heavy pressure of the centre. Mbappe would often come to pick him up. This would then free Marcelo to spring down the left flank, and with Hazard central and drawing Meunier, Marcelo was often left free. Meunier is a big attacking threat for PSG, so keeping him pinned back was a good ploy. Their need to exploit the left is clear when looking at the statistics. Isco would then join Hazard between the lines, meaning that good combination passes often left Real in several dangerous situations. This was even more pronounced in the second half when Gueye was brought off for Neymar. The average positions show that Marcelo is high attacking, with Hazard cutting in. This pattern of play is visible for the second Benzema goal, with Madrid having plenty of numbers against the outnumbered PSG midfield. Bale tucks in much like Hazard did in the first half, freeing Marcelo to then cross and Benzema to head home. But after overloading the left-hand side of the pitch, the switch was always on. The right side of Madrid was much more conservative, getting forward strategically. Often Valverde would look to tuck in order to free Carvajal for the switch from Kroos. For the second goal, we see shades of this, with Hazard facilitating the switch to Valverde, who allows Carvajal to make the overlap and eventually makes the run leading to the goal. Now, let's see how the Parisians look to attack. Much like Madrid, they look to keep the ball and rotate it often through the midfield. Real Madrid looked to stop this swiftly. When Thiago Silva had the ball, they tried to cut off the wide pass to Meunier, instead forcing him to Kimpembe. They targeted him as he's weaker on the ball, and as soon as he got it they would swarm, forcing him deep and giving him no options, and he would be forced long, often leading to a possession turnover. But if PSG did get it into the midfield, in the first half they shifted into a double pivot of Marquinhos and Gueye, both of whom are limited on the ball compared to Verratti, who was being pushed higher up the pitch. Casemiro stayed tight on him the whole first half, meaning that PSG's central play often broke down at the pivot during the first half. As a result, the wide areas were their major source for attacking movements. For most of the first half, Mbappe was on the right-hand side, and with Verratti occupying space in the centre, it meant that when Meunier overlapped, Mbappe could be one-on-one against Ramos. And this led to some dangerous situations, as Marcelo tended to push up too high when trying to close down. This is what led to PSG's first goal, with Marcelo being dragged forward and out of position, and Sarabia dragging Ramos out of position as well, eventually allowing the cross. On the transition, attacking behind the fullbacks was especially effective, because both Marcelo and Carvajal pushed fairly high, and the pace of Mbappe and Di Maria was a constant threat on the break. But in the second half, with Neymar coming on, PSG changed to more of a 4-2-3-1, with Neymar playing the central role. This meant that Verratti once again became the ball progressor in the double pivot, and had much more of an influence on the offensive game, ending with a game-high 106 passes. Interestingly, Neymar opted to start deep on the pitch, and this would attract a lot of Madrid's midfield, opening space here. Di Maria and Mbappe were now inverted, so when Mbappe came in, room for Bernat opened up on the overlap, as you can see in his high average position. He was able to get into dangerous positions to get crosses in, such as the one to Icardi from this position. PSG's second goal is a result of this. Neymar deep here creates space for the wall pass for the man in between the lines, whilst Bernat overlaps to cross, and eventually Sarabia puts it away. An interesting tie from two big contenders for the trophy, but I want to know how you rate each team's chances down in the comments below, as well as any other tactics you guys noticed. But that's all for today, and remember, keep it simple.